Girl Scouts and viewers, and welcome to episode 43 of Girl Talk Weekly. We're your hosts. I'm Heather.
And I'm Julia, and we're coming to you live today for this week's episode of Girl Talk Weekly.
Girl Talk Weekly is GSSJC's YouTube and Facebook vlog series created by Girl Scouts for Girl Scouts. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
And if you're not a member, do not worry. This vlog will give you a sneak peek of what Girl Scouting is all about. We would love to have you as our sister in Girl Scouts. I'll drop a link below so you can find more information on how to join Girl Scouts.
With Earth Day just a few weeks away, we wanted to take today's episode to focus on some fun Earth Day theme activities.
Yeah, we'll also take a look on what Girl Scouts and our council are currently doing to help local conservation efforts in their community and around the world.
And as many of our viewers and Girl Scouts know, Girl Scouts of the USA has launched the Girl Scout Tree Promise, where we promise to plant, protect, and honor 5 million trees by 2026.
Whew, that's a lot of trees.
It sure is. But conservation efforts to keep our planet safe require millions of trees. And Girl Scouts is happy to be pioneering the way in this bold tree planting and conservation initiative.
Not only is it great for wildlife, but these efforts will help ease the effects of climate change on our planet.
But before we get into these activities we have planned for today, do we have any news or updates from Council, Julia?
We have a few today. First up, Girl Scouts can still register for the Science Scout Challenge. Girl Scouts can follow their footsteps on leading women of STEM with a super fun traditional science fair competition. Girls have until April 11th to register. Be sure to visit the URL below for more information.
Summer camp is in full swing. Girl Scouts and parents can now register for summer full of fun and adventure, as well as making new friends. GSSJC will be offering day camps, overnight camps, as well as virtual camps. To learn which sessions are going on and to register for your spot today, visit the URL below to learn more information.
And lastly, now is the best time to secure your Girl Scout membership if you haven't already. Girl Scouts, be sure to ask your parents if they renewed you for next year so you continue being the best you can be. This is also great for new members to take advantage of our early bird incentives. Be sure to visit the URL below for more information on renewing your membership. And with that, we are all done with today's news.
Don't worry, if you didn't catch all that, you can always come back to the video on our Facebook and YouTube page.
In honor of Earth Day, that is just around the corner, I wanted to take this time to share some really important information for Girl Scouts in our Houston area.
That's a great idea. And in case our viewers and Girl Scouts didn't know, Julia has quite the green thumb when it comes to planting and gardening. Don't you grow your own vegetables and various things in your garden?
That's right. I do enjoy gardening and such a great way to help conserve not only your local area, but the world altogether. I encourage that everyone to start a garden of their own. Since it's a great way to keep busy, it's back to Mother Earth. But did you know there are certain recommendations on what's okay to plant in our area?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Well, right there, you can see, so I got some leafy lettuce in the very, very back. You can kind of see the green. That is some kale. I am so happy to know that they survived the storm because I had to start all over with a lot of my other flower beds. Did any of your plants make it through the storm, Heather?
Oh my goodness, Julia. My whole backyard is brown.
Mine is too. I covered my vegetable plants as much as possible, and thank God these were winter plants. So I think with their roots they were able to make it, and of course covering them. But there was a lot of plants I covered too that didn't make it. I'm very sad, and I had to start all over because of that winter storm. They got to them. But so right now we are in the Houston Zone 9. This is a great guide. If you ever wanted to be a vegetable gardener just like me, this is a great thing to follow. So if the green area of where it is, it will tell you the month. So like if you look up broccoli, for instance, I started mine in January. And then, but I cheated on my lettuce. So I went to Lowe's, but you can go to other nurseries or Home Depot and such. I bought mine where they were already babies. And so in February, I put them in the ground. And then I covered them for the storm. And right now they are so ready to be picked and eaten. And I have more than enough to share and go around.
Well, that is too cool. There you have it. If you want to learn more about what you can plant in your area, visit the URL below. Up next, we'll be joined by a very special guest who used her Gold Award project as a way to help bring awareness to the wildlife in her community, as well as raise efforts for local conservation.
I love this award already.
I knew you would. But don't just take my word for it. Let's give a great big Girl Scout welcome to Gold Award Girl Scout Morgan Littman. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I haven't heard a single thing about your project yet, and I already love it. The wildlife and conservation are some of my favorite things.
But before we get into details on your project, could you share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Morgan Littman. I'm an ambassador Girl Scout. I've been in Girl Scouts for about 13 years now. I'm also a senior in high school, and I'm really happy to be here. Excited.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Definitely. And so tell us, with your recent Gold Award project really helped bring awareness for local conservation efforts in your community. Can you tell us a little bit more about your project?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit background for it. My house is kind of positioned in front of this drainage ditch, which is next to a patch of grass, a big stretch of grass that I've dubbed a nature trail. So for my project, I really wanted to raise awareness about local wildlife and plants. So I created a website that compiles a whole bunch of information on different animals, birds, lizards, turtles, anything you can think of that live in my community, and also plants. And so the way I've advertised this is by creating signs, and each sign is featuring its own unique animal that's on the website. And those signs are placed along the trail on fences. So families and people who are out walking in the evenings or in the morning, if they see an animal that they've never seen before, or maybe one that they have seen before that they really want to learn more about, they can just take out their phone and scan a handy little QR code, and it'll take them directly to the page on the website for that animal. And then from there, they can look at all kinds of other wildlife that's in the area. And hopefully with that education, I'll be able to help foster conservationist attitudes in my neighborhood and stop things like littering and pollution from happening.
Yes. This is such a cool idea. I love how you helped others identify the local wildlife through the signage. I mean, it is such a great way to keep visitors of the trail engaged with the environment.
Yes, definitely. And I love how you inquired QR codes, since they've been such a hit during this pandemic. What was your motivation behind taking on a project like this?
Well, a little background on me. My family moved to Houston, to this area, when I was about 2 or 3. So I've been here for a really long time. And that kind of nature trail and all the nature around it and these plants and animals have really been a backdrop from my childhood. And my brother and I used to go on adventures in the neighborhood, and we loved the nature in this area. And specifically, in the ditch, there are these little ponds where these turtles swim around. And I've loved the turtles ever since I was little. My brother and I would stop by to look at them on the way home from the bus stop. It was just always a huge thing. I was so attached to these turtles. And so during COVID, I was going on more walks. And as I got older, I've become a lot more aware of the litter and the trash and the styrofoam and bottles and things that are just floating around in there. And it really broke my heart. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, what was the cause of that, because people have heard enough that you shouldn't litter. People know that. But after a while, I realized that despite the fact I've lived here for so long, I didn't really know anything about these turtles that I loved so much, and I couldn't expect everybody else to. So I really came at this from the standpoint of, if I can make people aware of what's living in these areas and what depends on this environment and this ecosystem, that maybe it'll humanize it, and it'll make them really think twice before they litter and pollute, because they know what's there now. So it was kind of twofold, just hoping that people will stop littering for the greater good of the whole environment, but specifically the turtles that I was so attached to.
Save the turtles! Speaking of staying engaged with nature, our Girl Scout summer camps have recently announced that they have opened for summer. Do you have any plans to attend, or have you attended in the past?
Well, I don't have any set in stone plans to attend quite yet, but now that things are opening up and things are getting safer, perhaps there's always a chance. But I've definitely been to the Girl Scout camps a lot in the past. When I was younger, I was on community weekend planning boards in my community to try and, plan activities there. So I know that they've got a lot of really fun activities for girls to do, and a lot of them very conservation oriented. So that's really great. And I hope that I'll get to go this summer.
I love it. So I have a question about your project. Have you gotten a lot of people using the QR codes, or is there a way to track it? And have they said anything about your project?
Yes, absolutely. So right now I have an app on my phone that lets me track by day or weekly or monthly how many people are visiting the website. So some days there's more than others, depending on the weather and things like that. But usually every day there's 1 or 2 people that have clicked on it. And when I first put the signs up and was doing all of that, I actually had a man come up to me. He was checking out the signs, and he was over the moon that I had a sign that told people not to leave their dogs waste around and pick up after their dogs and clean up, because it's a public place where people walk. And he was just so excited that somebody was saying that, because his wife was so tired of stepping in dog poop. So it was a lot of that, a lot of people who had, identified kind of the same problems that I did, and were just really glad that somebody was doing something about it.
Oh, I love that.
I have another question. What was it like? Did you have to get HOA approval, and was that something hard to pass?
Well, the interesting thing with that is my original idea was to kind of have the trail more like what you would see in a zoo, where they have plaques that are kind of sticking in the ground. And as I was trying to embark on that idea, I had multiple people who were like, it's going to take forever to get approval for that. That's, city-owned land. It's going to take forever. So what it ended up being was, I just contacted the people who owned the houses that run along the trail. So those are their fences. And a lot of them had children. They were families. They had the same, attitudes toward it. They recognized the same problems. So about 8 or 10 houses gave me the permission to put my signs on their fences. So that really helped me skip over a lot of the bureaucracy of trying to get permission.
That's sweet. I love that. Now, before you go, Morgan, if you had one piece of advice to give to our viewers and Girl Scouts, what would you like to tell them?
Well, I think I'll approach this from what I wish someone had told me when I was starting this, or even while I was doing it. A lot of my fears at the beginning were kind of surrounding, I was on my own for the first time doing this project. When you do bronze and silver, you've got more other Girl Scouts you're working with, and definitely more adults that are helping you out. And the gold award is just, you've got to make it happen. And I was so worried about having to reach out to people in the community, because you can't do it by yourself. I was worried about having to, contact organizations and neighbors, and just having people think that my idea wasn't good, or me thinking that I was inconveniencing them or something or other. I was so worried about getting that no. And what I learned, and what I would definitely want other Girl Scouts to understand, is that across the board, people are very excited to help you, and they're going to want to help you. And 9 times out of 10, they've seen the same problems that you've seen. They're passionate about the same things that you are, and they're going to be really excited that you're trying to do something about it, and they're going to want to do everything they can to help. And the fences is an excellent example of that. I hadn't even, until someone suggested it, I hadn't even thought of asking people to let me use their fences, because I thought that nobody would let me do that. They would be like, this is my property. Absolutely not. You're crazy. And just the overwhelming amount of support, and people who were excited that I was doing something and excited to help, and really passionate about the same things I was overwhelming. So the advice would be, don't be scared to ask for help, whether that be Girl Scout project or anything in life. 9 times out of 10, humanity, people want to help you and they're excited to help you and they're not going to think you're weird or bad.
That is really heartwarming and such great advice.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Morgan, for joining us today. We have loved having you as a guest, and we wish you the best going forward. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Not a problem. It was great talking to you. Bye.
Bye. Julia, that project, I knew you would like it.
I was absolutely in love with her project. What a cool way to engage the local wildlife in our community. I have this patch of bayou right behind me, and I'm like, all right, I'm about to call her and be like, how'd you do this? Because I'm on board to do it in my community.
You should get inspired by those Golden Award Girl Scouts. I love that so much. But she's not the only Girl Scout in our council who is doing what they can. We actually got a video sent in from Girl Scout Zadie in our council urging others to take on the Girl Scout Tree Promise. Let's take a look.
My name is Sadie Solis. I'm a Girl Scout. I'm actually a cadet, and today we're going to be talking about trees. So we have this Chinese plum, if I'm correct, that's what it's called. It gave a sproutling last year, one like this. This one was actually given at the beginning of the year, but it grows pretty fast. The one that was born or sapling over here this year. It's a baby. We still don't know if it's gonna grow or not, but we're hoping and crossing our fingers. And this is the one that had happened last year, that sprouted last year. It took us all by surprise still. And it survived the winter snow, which is good. So, we have a garden, a little farm garden. Is that what you call them? Yeah. But this is the way we planted them. We have seeds and we planted them in little pots instead of putting them into the garden. So it's pretty empty right now except for one thing, which we have no idea what it is first of all. And it's empty, but we're gonna put some fruits in it, or plants, or vegetables into it. Over here we have this rutledge that we planted. This was 2 or 3 weeks ago, if I'm correct. This is green beans. This is corn. This is spinach. This is pepper. And these are beets. These have been exposed to the sun a lot longer than the egg carton ones, rosemary, carrot, basil, jalapenos, and strawberries. They've been exposed to the sun longer, that's why they've grown better. But today, we will be trying to find a place to plant this tree. People don't really know what this tree is unless they watch a lot of TV. This is a cherry blossom tree that is newly grown. Me and my dad got it when we went to the Asian market. But over the snow, it kind of died out a little. But now it's really it's growing new leaves and we're so happy about it. Today we're going to try to figure out a spot to plant it. So I did some research on a cherry blossom tree, and they need a lot of sun and a big area to grow because their roots grow everywhere. So today we'll be trying to find a spot. Originally we're thinking in that corner over there. This corner over there. Because it has a lot of space and sunlight hits it quite often over here. The sunlight hits it over there, and it's going to provide a lot of shade for a lot of other plants too. So that's where we're going to plant that tree. Now this tree to my right, has been here for how many years?
More than 20 years.
For longer than I've been alive. For 20 years. About my sister's age. So this tree has been here for 20 years. And you can see that this one and that one over there and are sproutlings of this tree. This is one of the many ways that you can multiply trees or can help trees, like the way we did with our Chinese fruit plums. They've been saplings and they've grown up, or they've grown. So that is one of the many ways that you can multiply, double, quadruple trees. So now that you've seen all of that, I encourage we as a Girl Scout to plant trees and plant them, because we have a goal of 5 million trees by 2026. I hope you all liked the video. Thank you. Bye.
Wow, that was a lot of trees in her backyard.
Yes, her backyard was huge. I'm so jealous. And I love how she pretty much knew like what every plant was. She did her research.
Definitely did her research. Identifying plants and flowers is actually some of the first steps of taking our citizen scientist journey when working for the Girl Scouts towards their badges. It's also a step on the Junior's Flower Badge. For example, there's this really cool app out there called iNaturalist, when you can discover and log what plants and flowers are in your area. You can also identify which each flower is and learn all about them in just one place.
Hey, that's cool. I'll have to try that out since I have a lot of flowers in my garden and I really have no idea what they're called.
Plus, it's super fun app and you can use it wherever you go. Like a few days ago, you know that bayou I was telling you about that that I'm so inspired to get posters out there for is, well, I came across a pretty cool flowers. Want to see if you can identify some of them?
Oh, goodness. Yes, I'll try my best.
All right. So I'll give you multiple choice.
Okay.
All right. So white daisy, daffodil, or crow poison?
White daisy.
It's actually called crow poison.
That's horrible. What a horrible name for such a pretty flower.
A lot of people mistake these for weeds in their yards, but a weed is just an unwanted plant that's growing in your grass. So there's actually a classification of weeds, and this doesn't fall under the classification.
Well, cool. Crow's poison. Now I know.
Okay, this one's flower blanket, firewheel, Indian blanket, or red daisy.
I'm gonna go Indian blanket.
You're half right. It was a trick question. It's Indian blanket, but is also another common name for it is also firewheel.
Cool. It does look like a daisy though.
It is part of a compound flower. There we go. I just got word stumped, which falls under daisies, fall under that, and sunflowers and all those other pretty. Whenever you think of a flower, most of them fall under that category.
Cool.
Okay, so cluster flower, purple daisy, or South American vervain?
Purple daisy.
It is South American mock vervain. These grow a lot in that bayou back there. So that was fun.
Wow, that was beautiful. I can't believe all those are on your walk. Well, this is too cool. There you have it, Girl Scouts. Be sure to ask a parent or caretaker permission before getting the iNaturalist app so you can start identifying the plants and flowers in your area too.
You'll be a citizen scientist in no time.
And with that, Julia and I are just about done with today's episode. So stay tuned next week for episode 44.
We got some great things planned, and don't be surprised if our show looks a little different in the weeks to come. We're excited to roll out some new stuff on Girl Talk Weekly.
In the meantime, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes to come. Until next time, I'm Heather.
And I'm Julia, yours in Girl Scouting.
Bye!